Hey folks, if you're finding this video on YouTube, this is actually about, this is a companion video to a blog post entry on bluerosealchemy.com where I talk about the extensive how-to list on how to make Ormus that I've written up with all my hints and an overview of the method. So I want to go over this in video because a lot of people learn visually and learn from an auditory perspective much better than they do reading. So I'm just going to talk briefly about the overview process and or the overview of the process, and then later I'm going to actually do a production video to show you how we make it here in my home lab. Ormus, also known as white powdered gold or monoatomic gold, I generally just use the generic term Ormus, is a precipitate of sea salt. You use lye, which is a very caustic chemical, and you have to be really careful after you know what you're doing. You use lye to precipitate a mineral drop out of basically reconstituted seawater. And that creates Ormus, which is, this is my packaged product that's going out this afternoon for Ormus. It's going out to one of my clients that I work with to do that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the process. The first part of the process is honestly, it's the most scary and the most dangerous. Lye is very dangerous to work with. You have to do your homework, know what you're talking about. I really recommend that you go buy a book called Ormus Modern. It's an Ormus, a Modern Day Primer, written by one of the students of Don Nance, who really knows his stuff, and he's one of the cutting edge people in Ormus. I also recommend you go watch the documentary All the Gold You Can Eat by Joe DeCat. He's been on our podcast, which I'll throw a link to in the show notes. It's highly educational. You learn a lot about Ormus. The documentary unfortunately leaves you, even though I enjoyed it, it leaves you with more questions than answers, but it certainly leaves you more educated about Ormus than anything else I've seen out there. So the first step is making the lye, and it's really the most dangerous step. If you look through this article or this blog post, you're going to see links to specific products that I actually use in the lab. Sometimes I use laboratory grade stuff, but this is like what you need to do it in your own house, right? Because I've got borosilicate glass and some lab equipment that makes it much easier for me to do it in bulk batches, but this is what you need to do it on your own. So after you do your homework and you watch the documentary and you read the book, preferably, you're going to do the next part of the process, or the first part of the process, is to make your lye solution. And this is where I deviate a little bit from the book because I've done so many batches. The lye solution that I recommend is a lot more concentrated, and the details are in the blog, but it's a little more dangerous because it's more complicated, but you get a much more efficient batch. You'll have to add much less of the lye solution into the seawater to get the appropriate reaction, and it's going to be easier for you to handle if you just make that more concentrated lye solution first. And I've got additional notes. Please read over the notes very, very carefully. One of the points of resistance a lot of people have, and I'm a big believer in this, is you need a digital pH meter. You need an actual pH meter. I do not recommend, and I've tried this, the results are less than desirable. Get a digital pH meter. It's going to set you back $50 or $60, about $80 because you need a calibration solution and you need probe storage solution, because the meter that I recommend and the one that I suggest you pick up is it's a gel probe, so it's got to have a special storage solution for it. But you can get all the calibration solutions and the storage solution all in one thing. I've given you the link. Go pick that up and just read the directions, right? It's not rocket surgery. So read the directions, get your glass jug. If you want to go overboard, that glass jug is eventually going to get etched by the lye solution because it's so caustic. find borosilicate glass. It's going to be more expensive, but go find some borosilicate glass. I use a lab supply store here in Houston to do that stuff. Glass jug is fine, and I've already done the homework for you. So grab that jug. If you don't already have it, get some silicone spatulas, some silicone spoons. I do not recommend using wood or regular plastic. It's got to be a special HDPE plastic because this stuff is so lye is so caustic. There's a particular type of lye that I highly recommend. I buy this stuff in bulk in the lab. I buy it in 5-gallon buckets. It's called Red Hot Devil Lye by Dubba Distributing. They make a really nice high-end food-grade lye. It's a byproduct out of their biodiesel stuff, and you can buy it. You don't have to buy it in 5-gallon buckets. It also helps in the soap making that we do too. Get the smaller container of the Red Devil lye because you're going to make small batches. I've given you a link to that. You're good to go. You're gonna, for safety's sake, I recommend you do this first part of the procedure in a plastic tote, just so that if anything spills, it's self-contained in the tote. And I recommend you line it with just a simple towel in the bottom of it, so that if anything spills, the towel's going to suck it up, and you're good to go. Don't forget your towel. You're going to need some nitrile or rubber gloves. You need safety glasses. Keep white distilled vinegar on hand. Cannot stress this enough. If you are going to work with lye and you are going to make Ormus, you have to have white distilled vinegar on hand. Or it doesn't have to be white distilled, it's just that makes the most sense, because you don't want to buy really nice vinegar. If you have a spill, you pour twice the amount of vinegar on the spill as the actual lye solution, and that will generally neutralize it. Certainly make it much more safe to handle. So you have to have that around and available. Don't skip this stuff. Use your glasses, use your gloves. Keep the vinegar on hand. Do this stuff in a tote. So you take this 1-gallon container and fill it up about 3/4 of the way, because you want plenty of safety room here. 3/4 of the way with distilled water, right? I use a special water from a special $6,000 machine, unfortunately, here at the house in my lab to be able to, so I don't have to use distilled water. I have to go buy it. Fill up your container about 3/4 of the way, and I dump 2 solid cups of lye into this solution. Now, as soon as you do this, you slowly pour the lye pellets into the solution, and you've got your gloves on, and you're standing by with your spatula. You pour it in there, it's going to go white. The water's going to turn white, and it's going to get hot. Don't let it splash. When I say it's going to get hot, it's going to be like so hot you don't want to touch it hot. It's an exothermic reaction as you put this lye into solution. You want to reach in with your spatula into your tote that contains your jar, your jug that you're mixing this stuff up in, and you just want to very, very, very slowly stir the solution until it goes clear. When it goes clear, everything in your solution, all that lye is dissolved. Then you want to very gently put the lid back on the lye solution and take the whole tote. Now, I try to set it up in some place where I don't have to move it. Sometimes if you have a vent hood in your kitchen, it's okay to do it in a vent hood. If you're inexperienced with this, do it outside. No pets, no kids, kid-free, pet-free zone, right? And then put the lid on it, just loosely preferably, and let it sit there for a couple of hours. Ideally, let it sit there overnight. You want this to go back to regular room temperature, and it will. Handle with extreme caution. If you get this stuff on your skin, immediately wash it off. Wash it off with regular water under the sink until it'll leave a slick sensation on your skin. Wash it off until you don't have that slick sensation, and then douse your skin in vinegar, and that will completely neutralize anything that's left. So wash it off with water first, and then douse it in vinegar. So yeah, hopefully if you have you're cautious and you have your safety gear on, you don't have to worry about that. So once step one is done and you've actually got your solution and it's already cooled, now you go to the precipitating the drop. Again, these are higher proportions that are recommended in the book, but I go for an efficient process. I take your 1 gallon jug and fill it up about 3/4 of the way full of distilled water, and then add 2 cups of Bokek sea salt. You order that from US Saltworks or saltworks.us. This is hands down one of the best salts you can use for Ormus production. And it's cheaper if you buy it in bigger batches, like I do. So you get all this stuff, you mix it up, make sure you have all your safety gear. I do this on a towel. Actually, I don't do it on a towel. I have some extra nicer equipment for that in the lab. But do it on a towel. Have your glasses on. Have your pH meter standing by, and you've already calibrated it. Get your seawater. Make sure your salt in your solution is all dissolved completely. And the reason I say only fill it up 3/4 of the way is you're going to add lye solution to this, and as you're adding lye solution to it, it's going to climb up the walls. You're going to get more and more liquid in there, right? And you want plenty of liquid. You want plenty of room. You don't want to run out of room when you're not done precipitating your drop. At this point, all of your sea salt is dissolved, and you have in a little wash bottle. There's a special wash bottle you get. There's a link to this on the blog post. The wash bottle lets you squeeze it, and it will put out a consistent stream of lye solution, right? So you put your lye solution in here, and you squeeze it, and it squirts out this little tube. So what you're going to end up doing, and this takes some manual dexterity, you clip your meter to the side of your jar, so your meter is actually registering what's going on, the pH in the solution, and you have in one hand you have a spatula to stir with, and in the other hand you have this wash bottle with lye solution in your gloved hands with your goggles on, and you're going to keep your eye on that meter and watch what's going on, and then you're going to slowly stir the batch of water, and you're going to squeeze this wash bottle to put a continuous steady stream of lye, and you're going to watch the pH. You're going to continue doing this. It's going to take probably 10 minutes of you doing this, and your arm's going to get tired. Stop and take a rest if you need to. Stir this and watch that pH meter. It's going to keep climbing, and it's going to get to like 9.6, 9.7, 9.5, somewhere in there, and you're going to hit what's called the buffer. When you hit that buffer, you're going to be dumping massive amounts of this concentrated lye solution into your batch, and it's going to stop. That pH meter is going to stop climbing. That's when it stops climbing, and you're still putting it in there. That means you've hit the buffer. So what's going to happen is you're going to continue to dump slowly via that stream lye in there, and you're going to stir, and you're going to keep really close eye on that meter. This is the critical point in this step of the process. You keep really close watch on that meter, and when that meter jumps again, it's going to jump a lot. It's when it overcomes that buffer. It's going to jump up, and then you're going to go, whoa. You're going to stop. You're not going to put any more lye in, and you're going to keep stirring, right? So you keep stirring, and you watch, and you see where that meter is going to even out at. And then at that point, you start adding 1, 2 little squirts at a time, and then you stir it in to get it mixed into the solution, and you're going to do a little bit and stir, do a little bit and stir, do a little bit and stir. You're eking up. Now it takes just a little squirt, and you're really going to move that meter. This is important. You have to go slow. You have to have patience. So you're going to bounce back and forth. What's going to happen is you're stirring. So you're going to put a little squirt of solution in, and it's going to jump up. And then you're going to stir a little bit, and as that lye at the top of the jar gets mixed down in, it's going to go back down. So you watch your meter this whole time. So your goal is for this particular meter, because it's got a 0.1% or a 0.1 pH variance, you want to stop at 10.6 on this particular meter. Don't let it go any higher than 10.6. So you play this little, add a little drop or add a little squirt, and then stir it in. It'll go up to 10.4, and then you stir it, and it goes back down to 10.3. And you do it again, and you'll do it 2 or 3 times, and then it'll go up to 10.5, and then go back to 10.4. Then it'll go up to 10.6, but then it'll roll back to 10.5. That's your sweet spot. You're almost done when you're bouncing between 10.5 and 10.6. Get it to the point where it's stable at 10.6. As soon as it's stable at 10.6, you're done. Do not put any more lye into solution. And this is something you got to watch out for. If you are not adequately stirring this solution, your pH numbers are going to change. You're going to have a higher pH at the top of your batch than at the lower pH, and you're going to come back and measure it later just for accuracy, and your pH is going to be way off. So make sure you're stirring this sufficiently. I'm going down the list here. That wash bottle is really an important part of the process, especially when you're first doing it. I actually don't use a wash bottle anymore because I'm good enough. I've done this so many times now. I can slowly pour it in, and I know how much based on my concentration and my own formulas here in the lab that I don't need it. But man, if you're doing your first couple of batches, get that wash bottle. It is a really nice training wheel for you to get a grip on how much you need. So when you hit 10.6, you're done with this phase, right? The next phase is the wash. You need to put the lid on and go put it up on a shelf away from anything that's electromagnetic. Ideally, you should have a box that you can put this in, a metal container that's going to shield it away from anything that's EM sensitive or anything that plugs in. Because at this point it's very sensitive to, and from this point on, it's very sensitive to electromagnetic fields. So you put this bottle, this snow white, beautiful Ormus liquid, in a protected container. Come back to it the next day. Ideally, have some patience, come back to it in 2 days. And you will see that all that beautiful Ormus that was in the whole milky white solution has dropped. And that's why they call this step the drop. All your good milky white Ormus is on the bottom, and the top is all clear. So at this point, what you're essentially doing in the wash phase is you pull off all the clear liquid, you siphon that out with a siphon hose. I've got a link to you can pick up on Amazon. Some people just use a turkey baster. That takes way too much time. So you pull the clear liquid off, and this is the important part. You put more water, clean water, back in. More distilled water back in the solution, back up to a gallon. And then you stir the crap out of it, right? And then you put it back in the box, and you go away, and you come back a day or 2 later. And what will happen is all that Ormus has dropped back down out of solution again, and you've got all this clear liquid. Every time you pull that clear liquid off of the top, you're having the amount of sea salt, because there was a lot of sea salt in this solution. You're pulling all that sea salt out, and you're pulling all that lye out of the solution. So you do this a total of 3 times, right? You go through 3 washes. That's the magical number. Any more than that, and traditional alchemy suggests that in the process that's advocated by Don Nance and his folks, is that if you do more than 3 washes, you're starting to wash away more of the benefits of the Ormus than necessary. And after about 3 drops, as long as you're letting it go down to at least half, and you pull off the clear liquid and put fresh liquid in, you're getting there's not going to be hardly any salt taste, and you're not going to have much lye at all in there. It's going to be completely safe, and it's finished Ormus. So you go through 3 washes, and washes, the end of a wash is defined as putting fresh water in, right? So you want to put fresh water into this 3 times. And then at the end of that 3rd time, you come back and let it drop again. And sometimes I let it drop for a week after that. Because the longer you let it drop, the more compressed that Ormus is at the bottom, because this is just powder in a liquid solution, right? So it wants to fall out of solution. The longer you let it drop, the more concentrated that Ormus is, and the more potent it is. So I let mine drop for a long time. My whole wash process is actually about 2 weeks, because I'm not in a hurry. I'm way more concerned with quality than I am quantity, and that's just the way I do business. So you go through 3 washes, and then bottle your Ormus, put several layers of tinfoil on it. A lot of people swear by ESD bags. Based on my testing, ESD bags don't do anything. They don't actually inhibit. They'll keep the product from any electronics from shorting out. It protects you from static electricity, but it doesn't protect you from EM fields. So get super thick tinfoil, which is why all my bottles are always stored and shipped in several layers of tinfoil. And my label is actually on the outside of the tinfoil, so you can see the label, but the Ormus is still protected. And these are really nice, convenient squeeze bottles. You can squeeze it, and I just want to shake it up. My dog's going nuts. Bear, knock it off. He didn't like the mailman. So yeah, if you don't want to go through this process, I don't blame you. If you want to buy a lab grade Ormus that I make from somebody who really knows what they're talking about and has been doing this for a while, I sell these for about $35 a pop. And I've even got an auto ship. You can get them for $30 a pop. Price is subject to change, obviously. I've got an auto ship where I just ship you a bottle every month. It's not a big deal. And this is at especially at the concentration I do, because I make really high quality stuff. I pride myself on that. At the concentration I make it in, this is easily a month's supply, and that ain't bad for $30-35. So bluerosealchemy.com if you want to learn more about this. If you have any questions, hit me up through the website. I'm happy to answer questions. Even though I'm making a little bit of money on this, that's not what this is about. I want to spread the word about Ormus. I have literally seen this stuff change people's lives. You need to learn about it. You need to figure out what's going on. I applaud you for watching this video and for reading this blog entry. And if you have any questions, I am more than happy to be a reasonable level of tech support to help you make your own batches. And I'm actually going to show the process with some of my equipment later in another video. So hit me up with questions. You guys have a great day, and I'm thrilled to have been able to share this stuff with you guys.